Welcome back to the show, Wave On. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. And I want to share the code LUNA10 for lunamoon.SUPyoga.com. Go there to the retail page, and this week we are highlighting Hemp Healer Lip Balm. And included in it is hemp oil and hemp butter, which are awesome properties for anti-aging and any skin condition, like maybe some dryness. So go there, LUNA10. With another episode of Wave On, and I've got two ladies on the line this time. How awesome, how cool. It's Women History Month, right? So we've got an awesome story about women empowerment, and I invited Danielle and Allison to be on the show because they're running a nonprofit, and it's for guidance and getting women back into the work field, and they're really helping them out, and they have a ton of inspiration and messages, and I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to share it. I know they are. So I want to welcome you both to the show, Danielle and Allison. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Misty. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Good to have you. So, I mean, really, that's your mission is your nonprofit that you both work on. But why don't we start with what inspired you to get started?
That's a great question. So I'm the founder of a small business called Detroit Academy of Etiquette. And my business model helps professionals, with business etiquette, dining etiquette, digital decorum, networking, all kinds of things. And we work with business professionals, and we work with all the way down to children. And so the last several years, I was sort of, noticing that there was sort of a gap. There was sort of a group of people that didn't have the opportunity to take part in these programs. And so it was over the quarantine, really, I came up with the idea of creating a nonprofit to help individuals who maybe didn't have the opportunity through their company or through their business or the financial means to take part in these programs, because I noticed that individuals would just feel really confident after going through the programs and take on new challenges and maybe a new job position, a new client, whatever it was. And I just thought, there's people out there that could really benefit from this type of training. So I was sort of floating this idea by some friends, and Allison was one of them, my dear friend Allison. And she was very drawn to this mission. And I was so fortunate because, as you know, Misty, Allison, she's amazing. And so she took a huge interest in it. And we were talking about it. She had a bunch of ideas. And I just said, hey, do you want to be a co-founder and partner with me? And that's kind of how it sort of evolved. And then from there, her and I just, ran with it with a bunch of ideas. And here we are today. So
Nice.
That's sort of the beginning of the journey.
That was the start, huh? The kickoff?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Detroit Etiquette, Academy Etiquette. Am I saying it right?
Academy of Etiquette. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is that something that you started and then it just snowballed with the project too?
Yes, exactly. So my business is something I do separately. And that's a paid programming available to, like I said, business professionals, children. And like I said, it goes everything from, I work with service staff individuals, like in hotels. And so that's a training program. And so Project 2 is a program that is free to individuals. And like last year, we had an application process. And so we sort of chose individuals that would fit the program, and they don't have to pay for it. And they go through a similar type of program that I do with Detroit Academy of Etiquette, but then it's just evolved into so much more. And Allison and I can share that with you. But yeah, it's not just the etiquette part; it's way bigger. So yes, that was the beginning of the.
That's
story.
Great. Yeah, cool. So yeah, a nice little evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And Allison, you jumped in on board, and that's so cool. I remember seeing some stuff back. I think when you guys first got going, or was posting about it or something, and how interesting.
Yeah, I came in with Danielle. She brought me in just before the clothing drive that we did, and we can explain about that. But I was very interested in her Detroit Academy of Etiquette because I think it's such a useful tool. There's so many people, and the world is so easily offended now that if you have the confidence to go in, like Danielle said, with all of these tools that that you're acting properly, and again, making that accessible to everyone, not just businesses or whoever, I thought was an amazing idea. And I was very excited to jump in and share that with her.
Nice. That's so cool. That's a great connection you guys have.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I love it.
It's been fun. And when we, got together and started brainstorming, like Allison mentioned, the first thing we sort of came up with was, a clothing drive, because we felt like, when you are dressed, your best, you feel good, you feel confident. We felt that this was a very important piece of what we were doing. And so we sort of put it out on social media. That was like our first step to get professional clothes. And we were overwhelmed with how many people donated. I think my entire front yard was covered in clothes. And so that was it. People have been so generous and excited to be a part of it, which has been very motivating for us. And we got amazing clothes. People donated clothes and they had them all dry cleaned, and shoes and work bags, accessories, coats. And then this is really cool, Misty. We had a gentleman, Wayne Wadika, who owns Huntington Cleaner. He offered to donate all of dry cleaning service. So anything that wasn't dry cleaned.
Wow, nice.
Everything professionally dry cleaned for these women. So that was really cool.
That is so cool. How do you find participants?
Go ahead, Alice.
That's a great question, Misty. So we Danielle reached out to a group called Brilliant Detroit, which is an amazing, amazing nonprofit. And what they do is they go into neighborhoods in Detroit that had an abandoned house, and they fix up the house and they set that up as a hub. And it's meant to do, it's to make a kids success neighborhoods. So I think it's from birth to kindergarten or 8th grade they do. So they want kids to be successful going into kindergarten, and they give them everything they need to do that. And they help support the parents as well. So we teamed up with them. They were able to we did a little bit of an application with some questions, and we ended up with 12 to 13 ladies that we did invite to come to our first workshop. And they were all moms from Brilliant Detroit. So all their kids were going to school and getting all the help they needed to be successful at school. And then the moms were going to get this little bonus from Project 2 from our workshop. So that's how we found them.
Beautiful.
We were so disappointed too, because we wanted to have so many more, but because of COVID, we had a lot of restrictions, and it ended up being the perfect amount, especially for our first pilot program, because in the end it was, we had a lot, it's just a lot. And what was cool is we got to really form some connections with these women. And Allison and I have even talked about going forward, after COVID, we may still keep it small, because it was just a great way to really get to know these people.
Well, and then it probably lets you spend more quality time when you have a smaller group, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, that ended up actually being sort of a blessing, having a small group. So, but of course we would like to, have that impact on a larger group eventually. So we have to figure that out, but it did work out really well for the first one.
That's great. So I would imagine also with everything going on with our world today and COVID and all of that sure you probably had some limitations, but probably more that would need help, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt like it was this is the perfect time to help to do this, more and more so now than ever.
Sure.
And it was exciting, and we put it out, on some social media blasts, and it was really interesting, the amount. So we have a whole team of coaches. We have a whole community. It's not just Allison and I.
Okay.
And people were writing us saying, how can we get involved? We want to be a part of this. We want to be a part of something that feels good right now. Because, it's just a tough time. And that, I mean, Allison, I know you would agree. Like we had the most amazing people reach out, and now we have this great community of coaches, the Project 2 participants, and we've all, like, just become our little own group, and a supportive, group that empowers, each other and lifts each other up. And but that was really fun. It's just to see, especially like I said, from the coaches, to see how they would write us and say. And unfortunately, we had to even, once we sort of filled our spots, we had to turn some coaches away. So we're hoping, to eventually, like I said, grow it bigger so that we can include more people. But we had some big stars in our group, so it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well, it's great to have an outpouring like that. So then, like you said, you can kind of maybe go back and get some more people when you start to get a little bit bigger as well, or if you need a substitute or something to come in and help. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. And we're hoping to maybe make it so you can even pick your path, whereas we can offer, here's our offerings, and you can pick 4 or 5 or whatever, because we were blown away by the amount of people that wanted to help. And I think being COVID and everybody being cooped up, they were like, oh, here's something good, let's go be a part of it, which was cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it was interesting too, because we started off with like sort of resume writing and interview skills, and then after reading the women's applications, we expanded it to so much more. I mean, we talked about nutrition, we talked about health, so we ended up getting coaches, for all these different areas, sort of more holistic versus just like the business and etiquette. So we ended up really broadening our horizons, which ended up being wonderful for even like the coaches. We all benefited so much from listening to everybody speak. And so that was a fun sort of evolution too.
Yeah. Take me through the process, like from the start, how you find somebody. You said an application that maybe they fill out. How does that work?
Yeah, so once we sent them we asked them, like, what are their personal goals? What are their professional goals? We gave them a couple options on things, but we did, again, like Danielle said, we got so many responses back about health and wellness. So I guess like anytime we would get applicants, we would probably read through their stuff and then tailor our program to fit that group. But there would be probably some things that we would always have there, like the interview skills and resume writing, social media presence. And then our one coach, Jennifer Ballerin, did a personal branding that we all thought, like, I think every single human could benefit from. It was so great. It was, she talked, her whole thing was the stories that have happened to you are your personal brand. So taking that through. So once we got that, we would then lay out the day, and we would, so it was a 2-day workshop, and we worked a lot on the schedule of the 2 days, because we had to work with when the coaches could be there, and fitting everyone in. And we also Danielle did a dining etiquette. So we had that in the middle of the day where we provided lunch and did a little bit of a formal lunch and how you would eat certain things. And the next day we had the second day we had a casual lunch where we got to know each other, which was cool. But yeah, so once we send out the application, we get the participants, we narrowed it down, and then we invited people, making sure they could come. And then we arranged all the coaches, making sure they were fit to what the women wanted. Mm-hmm. And we kind of went from there. We had a space donated to us, which was amazing. By District Capital, they donated a space for us. So that was pretty cool. We got to use that for free. So that's another limitation, was the amount of space we had. So it was perfect for the amount of people we had this year. But then, next year we'll see if we have a little bit bigger space or same size or however it goes.
Oh, that's awesome. That you find people, like that to donate, whether, like you said, the dry cleaner, their services to help, and all pool together as like a community, building each other up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so cool. The restaurant Atave Via, they donated most of the food to our coaches and our women, our participants. Nice. And that was just, people just were coming out of the woodworks to help. And it was just so moving. But yeah, and just to add to what Allison was saying, we had a financial planner, Julie Quick. She's amazing. We want to share a couple of stories from the actual workshop.
Yeah, for sure.
But we also had a couple human resource directors, Kim Twin and Julie Derone, Crystal Kalinowski. So they would they talked to the women beforehand, and they would go through resumes. So that way we weren't just walking in blind to the workshop. They would come in with some background knowledge. And Allison was awesome with also helping them with, like she said, social media presence, social media networking and marketing, like net marketing, but, LinkedIn and just talking about, professional social media profile, which is so important these days, as we all know. Yeah. And we had, I'm trying to look at my list here. Oh my gosh, Yvette Steins. She was amazing. She was, Allison, is her title, well, she has her own publishing company. She's an author, motivational speaker.
I think she goes by like author and wellness coach.
So she really brought everything together. Like,
say her name again.
Yvette Steins.
Okay.
And Allison connected with her. I think you guys went to high school together, but she would start our program off with a meditation and positive mindset. And then at the end of and then she had a presentation, but at the end of the day, she would talk about, what can we take away from today? What are some goals you have for yourself? And she supplied them with journals. And, I think she had us cry every single time she spoke, but it was like tears of like just joy and hope for the future. And it was just so moving. We were so grateful to have her, and she's continuing to work with, a lot of these ladies want to keep moving with, the next workshop. So that's really exciting. And then we haven't mentioned this part, but we also had so the women would come in, Allison and I and 3 professional organizers set up all the clothes, and we basically made like a little store so they could walk in and shop for a new wardrobe, which was super fun. The coaches would help them like pick out clothes. And then we had 2 stylists that would do hair and makeup, very professional stylists, and some professional photographers that would come in and get like a new picture for their, social media profile.
Yeah.
So there was so much. We had so much fun. I believe the women, I think they had fun too. We tried to make it fun and educational.
Yeah, right. Something to take away, but have some fun, connect with people. That's so cool. And I can imagine that there's probably someone that sticks out in your mind that, or maybe 2, I don't know, whether it was their story or maybe their personality, something that just really like, you like tugged at your heartstrings or something, like I could just imagine that that it just happens many times, right?
Oh, that's a yes.
Yeah. There were 2 women that we've stayed super close with. And one I would say is a little bit of like they were all from the same community and neighborhood-ish. And one was more of a matriarch of the whole thing. She is amazing. They would do anything for each other. They're all out here helping each other. They do constant, I don't know if we call it community outreach programs, but every holiday they collect items to give away to people in the neighborhood. Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's, Christmas, everything. And the one matriarch of the community, we're learning from her. She is unbelievable, so hopeful, so happy, so willing to help anyone in need. And then another lady too, who is trying to help any way she can. And those 2 ladies, we've tried to kind of stay very much in touch with and do whatever we can for them. And they are just amazing. And Danielle, I don't know if you want to talk about the little bit, I guess, younger. We hired her to be our Christmas program coordinator, which was kind of cool because that would be something to help boost her resume. She could say she organized the whole thing. So do you want to talk about that, Danielle?
Well, the one thing that has sort of evolved through the process, and we're just learning as we go, and is that we're using our Project 2 participants. We would like to hire them to work the next workshop or to be a part of other programs that we do.
Oh, how
so
cool,
we want
yeah.
them to become leaders in their, they already are leaders in their community.
Right.
But, just these opportunities are just, they're great for building confidence and self-esteem and experience. So our one lady, Neil Mitria, she, it was so exciting. She took on our Project 2 Holiday Drive Coordinator. And so she basically set up an Excel sheet of all the group of families in their neighborhood that could use some extra support during the holidays. And so we hired her, paid her to do this job. She had to also wrap the gifts. We got the gifts donated through our community, and then we got the gifts to them, and she would wrap them and distribute them to all the families. So that was exciting. And then we have another lady who is, loves to cook and has a great Instagram page. And we actually had something planned in January, and we were so disappointed to cancel, but we had a chef coming in to do healthy cooking, batch cooking on a budget for the participants, because that was something they really were expressing interest in, is healthy eating. And so anyway, so we had one of the chefs, we were going to hire her to be an assistant to this well-known chef that was volunteering her time to do this program. So yeah, and then, we, like I said, they're such inspirational women, and we want them to take that light inside of them and share it with the world and encourage them to share it with the world. So that's been an exciting evolution too, is just how moving forward we are going to use these participants with our program.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool to hear, the evolution and, them being participants in some way. That's so, I'm just painting a picture of all of this, in my head, seeing, this come together for you guys or ladies and just keep growing. And that's so neat that it snowballed from one thing and just kind of kept going. And, and all the people that are helping along the way and keeping the show going.
Excuse me, it's Misty. I was saying another inspirational story that from the workshop was we had a financial planner who was amazing, put her heart and soul into the program. And this was an emotionally charged topic for a lot of our participants. We were kind of going through the presentation, and we just saw in the room that, some of the women were getting emotional, and our coach, the financial planner, Julie, she's just such a caring individual that she noticed this sort of reaction, and she kind of closed her laptop and pulled a chair up, and we all the coaches, we kind of and the participants, we all sat in a circle and probably had I don't know, an hour or two of just opening up, crying, but it was really a breakthrough moment where I felt we really connected, and they opened up, they felt safe to be vulnerable and share. And we were sharing personal stories, and Julie was just amazing at sort of navigating that whole situation. And then our wellness coach, Yvette, came in and brought us all together, because we were emotionally drained, crying, and I was I hope they even want to come back tomorrow. Because this was the first day of our workshop, so Allison and I were nervous because it was intense. It was really intense, but it ended up being beautiful, a beautiful connection that we all shared.
It was not something I expected to happen. And when it did, I felt it was very intense for a little bit, because there was a lot of people who were really sharing deep stories of their past and how they ended up where they are. And, kind of as a way of explaining themselves. And we felt honestly honored that they felt safe enough with us to share their deepest stories. And it was really amazing. It ended up being, again, like for Danielle and I both, we're like, who got more out of this? Did the ladies or did we? It was really intense. And again, Yvette just brought it all home. She sat down, and her words, she's a quiet, powerful force, and she brought it all together. And we were so lucky to have her there, because I don't know what Danielle and I would have done.
Yeah. It really was such a team effort. And when certain, coaches felt, they everyone had their moment where they sort of stepped in and took charge, and it just sort of seamlessly played out. And it was because I really feel like all of our intentions, the participants, the coaches, everyone involved had such pure intentions. And like Allison and I always say, when your intentions are good, things will work out. Not that they're still not going to be challenging and you're going to have hurdles, but in the end, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And after that deep, meaningful day, the next day, because we all kind of had that, the next day was the makeup and hair and photography, and they got to pick out all their new outfits and stuff. And that day, we had music going. It was fun. People were catwalking and really getting into so it kind of, now we're in this safe space, and we ended on such a high note, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
The evolution of the 2 days.
And Allison, I love how she sort of ended the workshop. She had a cute, Allison's so fun. She had an award ceremony, and we also had everything was donated, but from different people that either Allison and I have come in contact with, or people on social media that had learned about our organization. But we had a briefcase donated with a portfolio and some pens. I'm trying to think what else was in there. It was just a whole sort of professional setup for them, and they had their clothes and a certificate of completion that we were hoping they could use on LinkedIn or their next job, because we just wanted them to walk out of there feeling on top of the world, special, confident. And then I would like to just also mention Carly, who did a wonderful program. She actually got everybody moving outside and talked about nutrition. And she's a movement coach. I think that's her title, or wellness coach. But she did a beautiful program too. So nice. we could keep going and going.
It seems like there's a lot in only 2 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was 2 full days though. We were there early, probably there till 5 o'clock. And it's funny because we toyed around with doing a week, or doing a Friday for 3 weeks, but the problem is people have children, people's kids were doing virtual learning. They have jobs, they can't just give up a week. So, and then we wanted the momentum to keep going. So we actually are going to probably stick with the 2-day setup, because it just, you keep it going. And we were afraid if we did it one week, one the next week, they might not come back, so
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we were liking the format when it was all said and done.
And we did have one participant Zoom the whole thing, which was amazing. And we took her walking with us, and
nice.
It was just pretty cool.
Her wardrobe, and it was fun. Cool. And there's so many people we're not mentioning too that I wish we had time, because we had so many volunteers, and Lux Event Linen donated all of our because we had a blank space. We had nothing in this space. So we had to get tables, we had to get chairs, linen. We had a formal meal set up. So, we had to get all the plates and all that. Anyway, it was just so many people, such a team effort.
That's awesome. And I don't know if there's a follow-up program. It sounds like you keep in touch maybe with 1 or 2 from the group or whatever, but I just curious,
we are actually, Allison, do you want to talk about, we're planning a fundraiser this spring.
Okay. We were hoping, Danielle mentioned, we were hoping to do our January event and we were going to invite back all the same ladies. Because of COVID, we decided not to do a food thing. Mm-hmm. But that's, we're still going to try and make that happen at some point. But on May 20th, we are going to have a fundraiser. And it will be a workout class. Carly and another friend will be teaching a bar fitness class. outside, and then we'll have food and a DJ and drinks and all that. It'll be a fun event. And then moving forward from that, we will do another workshop. Our plan is to do one workshop every year. As of right now, that's our plan. And so in January of 2022, will be our next workshop, our 2-day event. But we hope to have other little things along the way. Again, healthy eating, or and it'll all be based on what the participants are looking for. I think maybe moving forward, we could even do like a wellness thing with them again, make sure they're on track. And we did give them some goals and stuff to follow up with, and we stay in touch and make sure that, we're here for them, whatever they need. So
they can return back to you with a question or, hey, I'm having a hard time with this.
Yeah. Wow. We have phone calls. We have, phone calls with the ladies. We'll have different meetings of different things they're working on. And for the healthy eating event, we gave them like 3 goals to work on. And one might be like wellness. One might be with, a professional goal. And our goal was to have them, they had to meet 2 of their 3 goals as a ticket to get, I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dogs barking. Okay. But it was sort of their way of getting a ticket to the next event. So that we like that model, and we're going to try to use that moving forward too, just to keep things moving along.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. That's really neat, you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think I was asking if there was an actual story, but maybe it's not something to share. I'm not sure, but it's up to you on, I guess, like just something that really stuck out. Like what's a nice juicy story? I mean, it doesn't have to, I guess, go deep, but I'm just curious, like,
that Allison, go ahead if you have a thought.
Well, my thought would be there was one moment, and I think some of the stories that were shared, but they're very, very personal to the ladies. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I would be, but what I will say is I think their survival, what they've been through, there's one story in particular that I heard that I felt was so intense, and that the fact that this lady is still so hopeful, still helping everyone in her neighborhood. What she went through was just, and that to me was so inspirational. Mm-hmm. And again, like our friend, the chef that was gonna hopefully help us out, her dream is just to like cook for people. And she does that for all her neighborhood, she cooks for them healthy food. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's just to see women who that themselves could benefit from some help, but in turn are just, they forget about themselves and help everyone else. And it really is inspirational and amazing to have been around.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, is like I said, I'm painting this picture in my head of the ladies and even what they're like, and just, without a personal story, it's like you can kind of imagine that, that they're there for a reason, but they're also giving themselves, which is really cool. That I always believe in the co-participation of things, whether it's like student and teacher, we're all learning together, like in this together, and you said team in there at one point, and that's how I'm portraying it, sort of, that this was a nice vibe group, especially with the coaches you had, that draws that out, and then the women that are there, and and then they feel safe. All of those things are like really important.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. And the cool part is we all, even the coaches, we all came from very different backgrounds, and the participants, just different upbringings and, life experiences. And that was all set aside. And we were just talking as women, as humans, and connecting on that level. And it was just a beautiful thing to be a part of for me. And Allison and I said probably one of the most moving things that I've ever been involved with in my life. And I'm just going to echo what Allison said about that these women give everything they have and to support each other. And I'm so inspired, and I feel like after meeting them, I want to be more like them. And I just feel very fortunate to have met them and now they're in our lives, and it's a gift. So it's been such a, like, we've learned so much about ourselves through this process.
Yeah, I can imagine that too. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys got some things coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have a website, or well, you kind of have a website. I mean, Danielle, I'll let you just share about that.
Yeah, so you can find information about Project 2 on the Detroit Academy of Etiquette.com. So if you go to that website, there's a Project 2 page. And on the page, you'll sort of find our mission statement, gallery pictures from our workshops, information about the coaches, and any upcoming events that we'll be having. And like I said, we sort of this was like a pilot program, and we are so excited to continue to grow it. We have some, hopefully a partnership with a company that's going to help us sort of grow the nonprofit. So yes, we have a lot of exciting things happening, but yes, check out the website and, stay tuned. We have a Instagram page, and, we'll be posting and sharing things that are coming up.
Yeah. Why don't you share, more on the Instagram? How can people find you if they wanted to donate, even if it was just clothes or their service, whoever might be listening? How can they really participate?
I think so the Instagram is at Project 2 Detroit. You could find us there. My email is Allison at Project 2 Detroit. And any of those avenues. Danielle's information is all on the Detroit Academy of Etiquette.com website. And again, that Project 2, and anything that if you go to the Project 2 page on her website, you could easily reach us that way. Mm-hmm. And we will be taking donations for clothes at some point. We will put that all out on our Instagram when we do that. And any other donation, like if you would like to participate in the fundraiser, that would be a great way to donate. The Instagram and on the Project 2 page at Detroit Academy of Etiquette.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool to hear. I love the story. I've seen some of the pictures, and it's just very inspiring, and I just get kind of entrenched with stories like that. It's very nice. Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting us share. We so appreciate anyone who's interested in our mission, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank both of you for coming on and sharing the story, sharing the light, uplifting women.
Aw, thanks, Misty.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any more? Do you want to share?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah.
For now, stay tuned. But
well, there can always be a part 2. I can always have you come back.
Awesome.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ladies, both for being on and sharing your stories. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in again for another episode of Wave On. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, rate, review, and there's more guests coming down the pipeline.